Can you hear the music, Robert?
Yes, I can.
Every award season, there's a front-running movie that everybody questions, can it hold its legs? Will it be the Best Picture winner come March? Well, Christopher Nolan has made sure this Oppenheimer movie is the movie that defines 2024. Not only has it been winning all of the Guild Awards, all of the other type of awards, Oppenheimer may be the film that is remembered the most this decade. And that comes down to Oppenheimer and the biopic that Christopher Nolan creates and all the beauty that it has. Now, it's going to win Best Picture come Oscar night, and there is so much to talk about with this movie in terms of its quality, why it's going to win, why it resonated for so many people, how it almost made $1 billion at a box office, but despite being a 3-hour biopic. And I think the first person we have to talk about is Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan is able to tell this story in a very linear, non-linear way that creates a great pace and makes you really understand Oppenheimer's full life. Things that weren't as simple as just the Manhattan Project. Going into Oppenheimer's life after the Manhattan Project, something that I can say myself and even family members who worked on one of the sites where the atomic bombs were made didn't really know about, didn't know he was cast aside later in life by the US government. Now, I also want to talk about the camera work in this movie. This has some of the best cinematography I've seen from a movie in years. Nolan and his cameramen are able to get a beautiful, crisp-looking movie shot in IMAX. Whether it's the, black and white Lewis Strauss version, or you get in the colored version of Oppenheimer's perspective. There's so much that goes in here for Nolan that is able just to live up to any expectations and to tell a story, both positive and negative, about what Oppenheimer had done during the World War II Manhattan Project era, and even before and after.
Important thing to ever happen in the history of the world.
Now, if we're going to be talking about acting, obviously Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer is the first person to give a lot of praise to. He brings so much nuance to this role. He doesn't have too much over-the-top acting, but he is able to play the smug scientist when he needs to. He's able to play the hurt individual that realizes he just made the atomic bomb and the whole entire world has changed. He plays the martyr. He plays the hero. He's able to hit all of the ranges of emotions that you need to make this role so successful. And he has a great shot at winning Best Actor in a couple weeks. And it's all because of his acting skills and the range that he brings. There's characters that people will be remembered by for the rest of their lives, whether it's Marlon Brando as Vito Corleone, Harrison Ford as Han Solo, and I would say Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer. He will forever be known for this role because he delivers such an amazing performance. Now, if we're asking about the rest of the cast, I mean, gosh, there's almost too many people to go. This was a movie where you felt like it was stunt casting, but you can tell the actors and agents read the script and they said, I want to be a part of Oppenheimer. It's going to be something special. You have Robert Downey Jr. well on his way to a Best Supporting Actor win as Lewis Strauss, just giving a great performance on what is the back half of the Oppenheimer story. He's somebody you think is a good person at first, but ends up being that corrupt politician that we all come to hate in life. And Alden Ehrenreich, playing right beside him, again, does an amazing job in this movie, bouncing off Robert Downey Jr. Strauss, and his witty dialogue and his questioning, I think, works very, very well. It helps Strauss's scenes have major success. You have to talk about Florence Pugh and Emily Blunt, both the love interests of Oppenheimer in this movie, and I know some people will say Christopher Nolan doesn't need to know how to write women, and if there's any flaw in Oppenheimer, it's that both these characters get kind of lost in the story, but they both have great scenes as Oppenheimer's love interest, and especially Emily Blunt when she has her monologue and just her overall questioning scene later in the movie. It's a standout, and it is what got her this Best Supporting Actress nomination.
It's just it was all so very long ago, Mr. Rob, wasn't it? The card whose existence I've forgotten.
Your Communist Party membership card.
Haven't the slightest idea. And I've believed this since I left the party 16 years ago.
But
17 years ago. My mistake.
But you said...
Sorry, 18. 18 years ago. I know that, thank you. It's your question. It's not properly phrased. I do.
Why don't you answer it that
Because
way?
I don't like your phrase having anything to do with the Communist Party, because Robert never had anything to do with the Communist Party as such. I know he gave money to Spanish refugees. I know he took an intellectual interest in communist ideas. Well, I couldn't answer that one.
But you can go down the line from acting all the way top to bottom. Oppenheimer delivers one of the most fullest cast, one of the most well-realized casts, and just one of the just best casts that you'll see in movies at any point in life. The next thing we have to talk about is just the visual effects of this movie. They're not digital; they're a lot more practical. But Nolan's ability to edit in all of the atomic things in Oppenheimer's head and really help you understand how I feel like Oppenheimer sees things, I just thought was so well expertly done, and the way it was cut in there was able to keep my attention in the movie and keep this movie pace going pretty fast for a 3-hour movie. I also think the editing overall, being able to tell this story in so many different parts, is just tremendous and well worthy of an Academy Award that it's nominated for. Then we need to talk into Ludwig's score. Oppenheimer has one of the best scores that I've seen in movies in a long time. Usually you hear these type of scores with this much impact for like a Hans Zimmer or definitely John Williams, but we have a new person coming in that is quickly racking up Academy Awards, and I think is going to be a person we are going to be blessed with their music and their theming for many years to come. But the score of Oppenheimer, again, helps drive that pace, help drive the emotion, and it really delivers on all levels, in my opinion. And the more you hear it, the more you're like, that is an amazing score. The final thing I want to talk about here of why this should win Best Picture and why it will win Best Picture is the groundbreaking scene in the auditorium after. When I watched this at this time, this was one of my favorite scenes of the year in terms of just the quality of acting from Cillian Murphy and everybody around the camera. Seeing how Oppenheimer was trying to be happy, celebrating that the attack had happened in Japan, while also realizing the consequences that happen. I know one of the big critiques is we didn't get Japanese point of view of this movie, but that wasn't how it was written and how it was presented. But I thought this scene, was able to show the horrors of the atomic weapon and what was used and how it really affected Oppenheimer and made him realize that this is not the best thing in the future. And even the ending of this movie with Einstein and Oppenheimer, I just think puts the perfect cap overall on what is truly going to be an all-time great film. There isn't enough positive you can say about Oppenheimer, and when the Oscar comes out for Best Picture on March 10th, it's pretty clear Oppenheimer is going to be the winner.